Homemade beef jerky. Hey there, welcome back to 5 on Food. Now, I did a Hecker homily quite a while ago on doing your own beef jerky at home. I'm going to keep that one up because it has some of the details on how to do it. But for this quick 5 on Food, I want to talk a little bit, review that a little bit, and then talk more about a price comparison. Is it really economical to do your own beef jerky at home compared to just going to the store and buying it? So here we go. I utilized pre-sliced. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a butcher you can go to, I had a store that actually is full service, and you can ask the butcher, hey, I want it sliced. I'll just tell them I'm going to do it for beef jerky, so I need it sliced kind of that thin. And they'll do it, and usually it's not at an extra cost. It's part of the service of the store. You can also get pre-packaged things, like in this case, you can see there I use what they call out here in California, it's called the carne asada cut. So it's not so thin that it's not like sandwich deli thin, but it's definitely a thin cut of meat, thin cut of beef. Worked out really well after I did a little tenderizing on it. So you do that. You looking at my notes down here, I'm not trying to ignore you. You're going to preheat your oven to 175 degrees after you have marinated the meat in whatever flavor you like. My family really likes the teriyaki flavor, so especially my wife, she really likes the teriyaki flavor. So that's usually the one that I go for, and you can use any marinade you want. The one I happen to pick is one of our favorites. Marinate the meat for a minimum of 8 hours. 12 or more is better. Generally what I do is I'll slice the meat into the strips that I want it, because the carne asada cut is like a fairly wide cut, but it's nice and thin. So I'll cut that into like probably thirds to make a good beef jerky type strip. And then I'll marinate it. What I'll do is I'll start that in the afternoon. I'll get it ready in the afternoon. Marinate it overnight so that in the morning or that afternoon, even 24 hours later, that's when I'm looking at it being ready and it's fully marinated. It's going to have that nice flavor to it. So I'll do that. So then preheat the oven to 175. I get out the old baking rack. It's like a wire rack. Put it on a baking sheet, which I have lined with foil to help with the cleanup and things like that. And then I line the beef jerky on that rack, put it in the oven for, and here's the kicker, 3 to 4 hours. Because again, you're dehydrating with your oven is what you're doing. So it's going to take time, and that's the drawback of doing it yourself is there's some time consumption there. You do have to have the time for it. Now, it doesn't mean you have to sit there in the kitchen staring at the oven for 3 to 4 hours. You can do other things. I would never suggest that you leave your house and run errands while your oven is on. It's not a good idea. So if you've got a time where you're going to be doing stuff around the house anyway, you can do other things around the house and have that going until the timer goes off, right? Right. So check it after about 3 hours, see if it's the kind of consistency you want out of beef jerky. Make sure it's been cooked all the way through. If not, go for a little. It can go up to 4 hours, and you should have your own beef jerky. Now, the cost effectiveness of it. The cut of beef I used, again, was the carne asada cut. I was able to get a pack of that for $6. It was about 1.5 pounds of meat for $6. Now, that's going to vary in different areas. Some places meat's going to be a little more expensive, some places it's going to be cheaper. In my area, it's a little elevated now because of the pandemic stuff. That's the excuse they're using why some of the prices are a little high. So $6 for about 1.5 pounds of that specially cut meat. Not bad. To tell you the truth, that's okay. Because I would have gotten, if I would have cooked it as carne asada, I would have gotten at least 1, if not 2 full meals for my family out of that. So that's that's not too bad. So anyway, once I've got it all sliced, $6 worth of meat, and then the marinade I use costs, what was it, $2.40 for the marinade I use, and I only used half of it, so there's $1.20 there. So that's $7.20 that I spent, okay? and out of that $7.20, I got 16 ounces of jerky. That's pretty good. Now, if you look up online or you go to the stores and compare prices, 16 ounces of beef jerky, the better stuff, will cost you right around $35. You can get it cheaper at, on the average anyway. The search I did told me that the average cost for 16 ounces of beef jerky is 25 bucks. Again, regionally there's going to be a difference. So it may be a little cheaper in your area, it may be more expensive in your area, but somewhere between $25, $35 for 16 ounces, 1 pound of beef jerky. And I made my own beef jerky for $7.20. So as you can see, it is economical to do it yourself. Now, I'm not going to factor in the electricity it costs for my stove, or the gas, depending on what kind of stove you have, it costs and things like that. I'm going to be running my stove anyway. My family is home. My wife, being a teacher, is teaching from home. My son, unfortunately, right now, because of what's going on, is already home, going to school remotely, and so we're using the stove most of the day anyway. I'm not going to factor in, it's going to be a negligible addition to my household bill, running the stove for 3 to 4 hours one day to do this beef jerky. So I'm not going to add that in. So $7.20 for 16 ounces of beef jerky, and I got to do it myself as far as the taste that I want, what kind of flavor I want to use for the marinade. You can get crazy with like using your own dry rubs, doing whatever you want, things like that. I think it's pretty economical. $7.20 compared to the average of 25 for the same amount of beef jerky. I think that's pretty economical, and as we all know, beef jerky works as a great protein on the trail and things like that. So, homemade beef jerky. If you really want to get into the details of how to do it, you can look back at my Hiker Homily playlist. I have a beef jerky one on there. I can't remember what number it is. I'll try and put it up on the screen. But it's one of the Hiker Homilies I did beef jerky on. That gives you more of the details on how to do it and all that kind of thing. But as far as cost goes, it's economical, and if you can do it, you don't even need a dehydrator. You can do it in your oven. Go for it.